University Challenge. Asking the questions, Amal Roger.
Hello and welcome to Christmas University Challenge. Tonight is the series final. We've seen 14 alumni teams bravely put fingers on buzzers and prove to us that they learned at least something from their time at university. Now, only the strongest two remain. There's no prize on offer tonight, no trophy or cup or statuette, just the warm glow that will come with being able to call themselves Christmas University Challenge champions. This year's team of Durham graduates are here tonight, having beaten Warwick in the heats and then Worcester College Oxford in the semi-finals. They had to come from behind twice to win that second match and were helped over the line by their impressive knowledge of Thai food, women's football and French département. Their lineup remains the same and includes a professor of art history who specialises in the art of the Byzantine Empire, a writer, TV and radio broadcaster and award-winning food critic, the co-leader of the Green Party of England and Wales and MP for Bristol Central, and an author and content creator known as a pioneer of journalism on TikTok. Let's meet the team from Durham for the third time.
Hi, my name's Liz James. I graduated from Durham in 1985 with a degree in Ancient History and Archaeology.
Hello, I'm Tracy MacLeod and I graduated in 1982 with a degree in English.
And their captain.
Hi, I'm Carla Denyer. I studied mechanical engineering, graduating in 2009.
Hello, I'm Sophia Smith-Gaylor. I studied Spanish and Arabic and I graduated in 2016.
They're facing the team from Queen's College, Cambridge, who have seen off two other Cambridge colleges on the way to this final. Emmanuel in the heats and Churchill in the semis. In that second match, it took a tie-break to separate the teams, in which Stephanie held her nerve admirably to identify the novels of Edna O'Brien. Their team is also unchanged from previous rounds and includes an emeritus professor of space science and former president of the Royal Astronomical Society, a literary critic and best-selling novelist, a journalist, author and documentary maker, and an award-winning writer of science fiction. Let's meet the team from Queen's College for the third time.
Hello, my name is John Zarnecki and I graduated with a BA in Natural Sciences in 1971.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Merritt. I read English and I graduated in 1996.
And their captain.
I'm Jenny Kleeman. I studied social and political sciences and I graduated in 2001.
Hi, I'm Richard Morgan. I read modern languages and history and I graduated in 1987.
No pressure then, guys. Just immortality at stake, that's all. Fingers on buzzers, good luck. Here's your first starter for 10. Quote, world citizen, Englishman by birth, French citizen by decree, American by adoption. These words appear on the plinth of a gilded statue located in the East Anglian birthplace of which writer and revolutionary? An influential political pamphleteer during the...
Queen's Morgan.
Thomas Paine.
It is Thomas Paine, yes, well done. Your bonuses, Queens, are on mythology. In each case, identify the figure from the description. All three names begin with the letters RH, that's Romeo Hotel. First, in Greek myth, a Titan who hid her newborn son, Zeus, in a cave so that Cronus, his father, would not swallow him. She was a daughter of Uranus and Gaia.
Rhea.
Yes. Yeah. Secondly, this Celtic horse goddess is identified with the Gaulish Ipona and the Irish Macha. In the Mabinogion, she appears on a pale horse and meets and marries the Prince of Dyfed.
I'm going to nominate you. Rhoda,
Rhiannon?
Yeah, that's good.
Rhiannon, does that begin?
Sounds more Celtic.
Rhiannon?
Rhiannon.
Rhiannon.
Yes. Finally, in the Iliad, this king of Thrace was an ally of King Priam of Troy. The French naturalist Audebert used this name for a species of macaque that is now widely used in research.
Rhesus.
Yes, it is. Now let's start the question. A fragment known as the Falkirk set, dating from the 3rd century, is regarded as an early example of what kind of cloth, types of which were categorised in the substantially forged 19th century publication, The Vestia...
Durham MacLeod.
Tartan.
It is tartan. Well done. Your bonus is, Durham, 3 questions on Jewish breads. From Hebrew, what name is given to a type of bread traditionally eaten on Shabbat and often baked for major holidays, made from an enriched leavened dough that is usually braided or plaited?
Challah.
Challah.
Correct. Likely from Polish, what name is given to a type of sweetbread originating in Eastern Europe, consisting of a highly enriched dough that is rolled out, spread with a sweet filling such as cinnamon, sugar or chocolate, then rolled back up and twisted?
Oh, I've had it.
Don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get it. Pass.
Is babka. What name is given to the thin, crisp, unleavened bread that is central to the celebration of Passover, being held to have been baked by the Israelites on the eve of their flight from Egypt?
Matzah.
Yes, correct. Well done. Now let's start the question. In 1824, the Swedish chemist Jöns Jacob Berzelius became the first to isolate which Group 4 element, a hard, silvery metal that is highly corrosion resistant. Because it does not absorb neutrons, it is used in the manufacture of nuclear reactors, while an oxide of the element is a synthetic gemstone that is a popular diamond substitute.
Queen Zarnecki.
Magnesium.
No, you can have a bit more time, you can't confer.
Zirconium.
Durham James.
OK, I'm going to be generous and give that this time because I could see you completed your answer, which was zirconium, before we heard anything from Liz. So on those grounds, we're going to give it. But in future, you really must wait for Roger to call out your name. Here we go then. Your bonuses, Durham, are 3 questions on a Scottish botanist. Born in Montrose in 1773, which botanist is best remembered for his unexpected contribution to physics after he observed the random movement of pollen grains in water under a microscope?
Brownian motion. Happy?
Yeah.
Brown.
Yes. As a young man, Brown served as ship's botanist on HMS Investigator under the command of which explorer the voyage became the first to circumnavigate Australia?
Louder. Matthew Flinders is my suggestion.
Anyone know any better?
Nominate.
Matthew Flinders.
Yes. Though the terms predate him, Brown is credited with the division of seed-bearing plants into gymnosperms and which other group, commonly known as flowering plants?
Floral. If we haven't got any ideas, say Christmas wreath.
No idea.
Pass, sorry.
It's angiosperms. Now let's start the question. It's a picture round now, and for your picture starter, you're going to see a biblical excerpt written in Middle English. For 10 points, I need you to name the biblical book in which this quote is found.
Darren Smith-Gaylor.
Luke.
No. Anyone from Queen's? You may not confer. Buzz if you want to have a go.
Queen's Merit.
Matthew.
It is Matthew, the Gospel of St. Matthew. Well done. For your picture starter, you saw an excerpt from the English translation of the Bible made under the auspices of theologian John Wycliffe, the 700th anniversary of whose birth is being celebrated this year by the Wycliffe Bible Translators Charity. For your picture bonuses, 3 more extracts from the Wycliffe Bible. Again, in each case, I need you to name the biblical book from which these quotes have been taken. First, this book, note the name of the book itself has been removed.
So who's the son? So son of
Solomon is the
Solomon follows.
yeah.
Song of Solomon.
What?
Song of Solomon.
I'm going to nominate. Okay. Nominate Merit.
Song of Solomon.
No, it's Ecclesiastes. Secondly, this epistle.
That is Paul. It's one of Paul's letters.
Corinthians.
It's one of Paul's letters. Yeah. Just about. Yeah, I think it's Corinthians.
Corinthians.
No, bad luck, it's the Romans. And lastly?
This is Genesis, isn't it?
No, it
This is
doesn't.
getting kicked out of paradise, no?
Is it? No, it doesn't.
Sort of which year now should
Yes. Yeah.
Genesis.
It is, well done, well worked out. Let's start the question. What name links all of the following? The great-grandson of Noah, described as a mighty hunter before the Lord, the 1907 to 1909 British Antarctic expedition led by Ernest Shackleton, and the epithet used to pay tribute to Augustus Jaeger, Elgar's publisher, in the title of the composer's 9th variation of the Enigma Variations.
Durham James.
Nimrod.
It is Nimrod, yes, exactly. 3 questions for you, Durham, on the actor Carl Weathers, who died in 2024. In what film does Weathers play a CIA officer who assigns a paramilitary rescue team to a mission in the Central American jungle? The team is led by Dutch, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No idea. No idea. Any ideas?
Commando? I mean, I'm just trying to think of some Arnold
I do
Schwarzenegger
it?
films. I think that is a film.
Commando?
No, it's Predator. Weathers played the fictional former professional golfer Chubbs Peterson in which 1996 comedy starring Adam Sandler?
The Cup Boy, is it called something like that? The Cup Boy or the...
I've never heard of it. No, I don't
It's
know.
called something like the Cup Boy.
Okay, I'll do it. Cut Boy.
I think the film you're thinking of is The Water Boy, but it's not that. It's Happy Gilmore. What was the name of the boxer portrayed by Carl Weathers, who was the main antagonist in the films Rocky and Rocky II?
Who did play... Who... did Rocky fight against?
I haven't seen it, sorry.
I only remember him. No, I don't know.
Pass.
It's Apollo Creed. Now start the question. Beginning with a strike by enslaved plantation workers in December 1831, later escalating into a large-scale rebellion, the Baptist War, led by lay deacon Samuel Sharp, took place in what modern-day country? While brutally suppressed by British forces, the uprising hastened the passing of the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833, and today Sharp gives his name to the square where he was executed in Montego Bay.
Queen's Zarnicki.
Jamaica.
It is indeed Jamaica, yeah. Your bonuses then, Queens, are on the subjects of movements in Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition suite, written in 1874. The third main movement of the suite is intended to evoke children quarrelling and playing in which public gardens in Paris? They lie between the Louvre and the Place de la Concorde, and in 2024 were the location of the Olympic cauldron.
Tuileries.
Yes. Which figure from Slavic folklore is the subject of the work's penultimate movement, titled The Hut on Hen's Legs? She is commonly depicted as a crone who kidnaps and eats children and flies through the air in an iron cauldron or mortar.
Which one of you shall I nominate? Nominate Morgan.
Baba Yaga.
Yes, well done. The final movement of the work is inspired by Victor Hartmann's entry for a competition to design a monumental commemorative gate for which city, now a national capital?
City that's
No, national. Berlin.
Berlin.
No, it's Kiev. 10 points in it. Another starter question. Which Shakespearean character is the protagonist of a poem by Robert Browning that begins, "Will sprawl now that the heat of day is best, flat on his belly in the pit's much mire"? The poem's subtitle is Natural Theology in the Island.
Queen's Cleeman.
Prospero.
No, you may not confer. Durham, anyone have a guess?
Durham MacLeod.
Falstaff.
It's Caliban. Let's start the question. Released by expats in the UK in 1985 to showcase Umbakanga and other music genres native to their homeland, the compilation album that critic Robert Christgau declared the best release of the 1980s and that featured artists such as the singer Machlatini and Ladysmith Blackman Batso was titled...
Durham MacLeod.
Graceland.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. Was titled The Indestructible Beat of which suburb of Johannesburg? You may not confer.
Queen's Merit.
Soweto.
It is Soweto, yes. Your bonuses then, Queens, are 3 questions about a country. What is the only Asian country that is entirely in the southern hemisphere? It is located on the largest and easternmost of the Lesser Sunda Islands, which it shares with Indonesia.
East Timor. Which shares with Indonesia. Is it East Timor?
That is a country now.
Yes, it is East Timor. East Timor?
Yes. Which co-recipient of the 1996 Nobel Peace Prize was first elected president of East Timor in 2007? He came out of retirement to win the 2022 election.
I don't know this. I don't know. We don't know.
That was José Ramos Horta. East Timor has 2 official languages, Tetum, of Malayo-Polynesian origin, and which other that was the language of administration during the colonial era?
Timor. What? Dutch?
No, it was Portuguese, actually. Another starter question. Music round now. And for your music starter, you'll hear a piece of classical music by a Central European composer. For 10 points, name the composer.
Durham James.
Chopin.
No, you can hear a bit more, Queens, but you may not confer.
Queen's Merit.
Dvorak.
It's Bella Bartok. We'll take your music bonuses in a second. Give me either of the 2 common names used in English for the asterism Messier 45, an open star cluster containing the 3rd magnitude star Alcyone, located at a distance of roughly 400 light-years in the constellation Taurus. Both names refer to a group of nymphs in Greek mythology who are companions of Artemis.
Queen's Zarnicki.
Pleiades.
It is Pleiades. Well done. They're the 7 sisters. Earlier, you heard Bartok's Winter Solstice song, a piece inspired by folk music and named after the longest night of the year. For your music bonuses, Queens, you'll hear 3 pieces of classical music about nighttime. For 5 points in each case, just name the composer. First, this piece from 1899.
I've got nothing.
It's one I'm a timer.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, but we've got to bring up the composer. And any composers do you want to guess? Shostakovich.
No, that was Schoenberg's Verklärte Nacht. Next, this piece from a 1900 opera.
My mum's never going to forgive me. Operas from 1900. Who was writing operas?
Not Benjamin Britten.
Is it
Too early.
in English? What language is this? I guess that makes no difference.
Come on.
Okay. Rossini.
No, that was Dvorak, Song to the Moon from Act 1 of Rusalka. Finally, this piece from 1825.
It's German. It's Strauss, Schumann. What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Come on.
Strauss.
No, it's Schubert. Let's start the question. A 2024 exhibition at the National Gallery in London examined the relationship between David Hockney and the work of which 15th century Italian artist? Hockney's works, Looking at Pictures on a Screen and My Parents, both depict this artist's The Baptism of Christ, while his other works include a diptych portrait of Count Federico da Montefeltro and Battista Sforza, and the fresco cycle The Legend of the True Cross in the choir of the Church of San Francesco in Arezzo. No, I'll tell you, it's Piero della Francesca. Now let's start a question. During a snowstorm on New Year's Eve, 1775, the Continental Army suffered its first major defeat of the American War of Independence when it failed to capture which city from its British garrison? The failure meant that the city and the province of the same name would remain part of the British Empire. Anyone? No, I'll tell you, it's Quebec, in Quebec City. July 2024 marked 60 years since the premiere of which musical comedy film directed by Richard Lester, featuring the songs I Should Have Known Better, If I Fell and Can't Buy Me Love, as well as the title song, which also lent its name...
Queen's Merit.
Hard Day's Night.
It is A Hard Day's Night, yes. Your bonus is then 3 questions and a prize for experimental fiction. Which member institution of the University of London gives its name to a literary prize awarded since 2013 to fiction that breaks the mould or extends the possibilities of the novel form?
Goldsmiths.
Yes, correct. Who won the inaugural Goldsmiths Prize for her novel A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing? She was nominated again 3 years later for The Lesser Bohemians.
Nominate merit.
Emma McBride.
Yes, well done. Referring obliquely to a character's brush with drowning, what word precedes Newburyport in the title of Lucy Ellmann's 2019 winner, a novel composed largely as a single long sentence?
Ducks.
Correct, well done. Another start question. A bell known as Fat Peter is the largest in which European city's cathedral, in which one can also see a modern stained glass window designed by Gerhard Richter and the Shrine of the Three Kings?
Queen's Zarnicki.
St Petersburg.
No? Anyone from Durham?
Durham James.
Cologne.
It is Cologne. Well done. Your bonus is then 3 questions on impact events. About 1,200 metres in diameter, the Barringer meteor crater is a distinctive impact crater situated near Winslow in what US state?
I've been to a big crater in the States and it was somewhere in the west, like Utah or something like that, but I don't know for definite.
anywhere.
Nevada, Utah, something like that. Go for it.
Utah?
No, it's Arizona. Born in 1928, which US astronomer helped confirm the impact origin of the Barringer crater? Along with his wife Carolyn and David H. Levy, he gives his name to the comet that collided with Jupiter in 1994.
Don't know.
Pass.
It's Eugene Shoemaker, the comet being Shoemaker-Levy 9. Shoemaker-Levy 9 was identified from which observatory near San Diego in California? It is the site of the Hale telescope.
Pass.
It's Mount Palomar. Now let's start the question. I need the name of a plant here. In 1806, the French chemists Louis-Nicolas Vauquelin and Pierre-Jean Rubiquet discovered the first amino acid. They isolated it from and named it after what plant? A perennial flowering monocot whose shoots are eaten as a spring vegetable.
Queen's Cleeman.
The P.
No? Anyone from Durham?
Durham MacLeod.
Onion.
No, it's the asparagus. Let's start the question. I need an answer of at least 2 words here. In May 2024, Claire Ward became the first mayor of which newly created combined authority with an administrative centre at Chesterfield comprising all of Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire?
Durham Denia.
East Midlands.
It is the East Midlands, yes. Your bonus is then going for 3 questions on a 19th century novel. Which novel of 1851 ends with its narrator being rescued from the sea by the Rachel after clinging on to the coffin which a fellow crew member had earlier built for himself?
Moby Dick. Moby Dick.
Moby Dick.
Yes, the crew of the Pequod had earlier met the Rachel in a ritualised meeting between 2 whaling ships. What short name is given to these meetings, of which there are 9 throughout the novel?
That's all I know about
Let's
that.
just say school, like School of Wales.
A school.
No, it's a gam. What is the name of that surviving narrator who introduces himself in the novel's opening line?
Is it Ahab?
No, that's the captain.
I am...
I don't know. It was a really boring book.
Okay, let's just say Ahab because it's somebody in Moby Dick.
Ahab.
No, it's Ishmael. Let's start the question. Picture round now. For your picture starter, you're going to see a painting, and for 10 points, I need the name of the artist.
Durham James.
Jerome.
No. Anyone? No, I'll tell you. It's Eugene Delacroix. We'll take your picture bonuses in a moment. Let's start the question. Then serving as the leader of Sinn Féin, which politician was arrested at Newry Town Hall during the 1924 general election after violating an order that prevented him from campaigning in Ulster? 2 years later, he would leave Sinn Féin in order to found a new party, Fianna Fáil.
Queen Zanicki.
Collins.
No.
Durham MacLeod.
Purnell.
No, it's Eamon de Valera. Let's start the question. Name either of the countries separated by the narrow, strategically important seaway known as the Gate of Tears, or Bab al-Mandab. One corresponds in part to the ancient Arabia Felix. The other was formerly known as French Somaliland.
Queen's Morgan.
Ethiopia.
No. Have a punt, go on.
Durham Denia.
Djibouti.
It is Djibouti, yes. Djibouti or Yemen would have done. For your picture starter, you saw Eugene Delacroix's Massacre at Chios, first exhibited 200 years ago at the Paris Salon of 1824. For your bonuses, 3 more paintings exhibited at the same salon. I need the name of the artist in each case. First, this artist.
Oh my God. Yeah, no
I don't
idea.
know.
No idea.
Pass.
That's by Ingres. Secondly, this artist.
It is.
Try David. David. Give it a shot.
David.
No, it's Paul Delaroche. Lastly, this artist.
Oh, surely that's Constable. It has to be.
Must be, yeah.
Constable.
Yes, it's the Haywain. In 1524, Michelangelo began directing the construction of which institution in Florence upon the commission of Pope Clement VII? Containing over 10,000 rare books and manuscripts, it was named after Clement's adoptive father, Lorenzo de' Medici.
Durham Denia.
The Medici Library.
No. No, I'll tell you, it was the Laurentian Library. Now let's start the question. Luis Echeverria, Ernesto Zedillo and Felipe Calderón have all served as the president of what country, which in 2024 elected Claudia Sheinbaum as its first female head of state?
Darren Smith-Gaylor.
Mexico.
It is Mexico, yes. Your bonuses then. There are 3 questions on territorial agreements of 1924. First, the 1924 Treaty of Rome resulted in the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes accepting Italy's annexation of which nominally independent port city and its hinterland? You may give either its historical Italian name or its current Serb-Croat name.
Sure? Yeah.
Trieste.
No, it's Fiume or Rijeka. Second, the convention concerning the territory of Memel, formerly transferred to which country, lands also known as the Klaipeda region, once part of the German province of East Prussia.
German,
East Prussia. Is it
Poland.
Poland?
Sure. Poland.
No, it's Lithuania. And finally, in 1924, the United States ended its 8-year military occupation of what country, handing over power to newly elected President Horacio Vázquez, who later would be replaced first by Rafael Estrella Urena and then by the dictator Rafael Trujillo.
I know that name, but I don't know. No.
Pass.
It's the Dominican Republic. 3 minutes to go. Which character says these lines in a 17th century literary work? So farewell hope, and with hope farewell fear. Farewell remorse, all good to me is lost. The work in question is Paradise Lost. You may not confer.
Queen's Morgan.
Satan.
It is Satan, yes, well done. 3 questions for you, Queens, on an artist. A posthumous portrait of Breonna Taylor for the cover of Vanity Fair and the official portrait of Michelle Obama as First Lady are among works by which American artist born in 1973? She was both the first woman and the first African-American to win the Smithsonian's Outwin Bucheva portrait competition.
Pass.
Amy Sherald. Sherald characteristically renders the skin of her portrait subjects entirely in shades of grey. This technique is usually described in art history by what French term?
Grey is green.
Come on.
Ombre?
No, it's grisaille. Taken from Jane Austen, what single word completes the title of Sherald's 2019 painting of a confident young man in a strikingly coloured sweater? A single man in possession of a good what?
Fortune. Fortune.
It is fortune, yes. Now start the question. What 8-letter Latin word precedes the words onca, pardus, tigris and leo in the binomials for the
Queen's Cleeman.
Felis.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. You can hear a bit more of the question, Durham. You may not confer. Jaguar, leopard, tiger and lion, respectively.
Durham MacLeod.
Mountain.
No, it's Panthera. Now let's start the question. Major ports on which arm of the Mediterranean Sea include Durrës, Zadar, Split, Trieste and Venice?
Durham Denia.
Adriatic?
Yes, it is. Your bonuses are on the composer Gustav Holst, who was born in 1874. In 1911, Holst conducted the first modern revival of The Fairy Queen, a semi-opera by which English composer?
Nominate Smith Gaylor?
Purcell.
Yes. Which movement of Holst's Planet Suite ends with a choir in an adjoining room being gradually muffled by closing the connecting door?
Can't remember.
Nominate Smith Gaylor?
Saturn.
No, it's Neptune. In Holst's second suite for military band, he intertwined the tune of the Dargasson with which other English folk tune, popularly but erroneously attributed to King Henry VIII?
Greensleeves.
Greensleeves.
Yes, now start the question. What singular noun ends this opening couplet of a work by Joyce Kilmer that the Oxford Companion to Modern Poetry describes as the only poem of his still remembered? I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a...
Durham MacLeod.
Tree.
Yes, it is. Your bonuses are on American television series that premiered in the US in 1999. And that was... Queen's Cambridge of 120, Durham of 125. Oh, dear.
That was so
I mean, it says something about the calibre of the competition that it came down to that final thing.
Oh, lordy.
You were absolutely fantastic, guys, and we've so enjoyed watching you and your little mascots. Who are they? Go on.
Those are good luck potions made by my 7-year-old daughter.
Oh. Heartbreaking. Well, thank you so much for being absolutely brilliant throughout this competition. Durham, Tracy, that final tree, the winning answer.
That was a very, very lucky that we got that question last, because we didn't do very well. And I think the other team did absolutely brilliantly.
Well done. Well, I don't know about you, but I could definitely do with a drink after that. And funny enough, I've got one here. I hope you could join us next time for the return of our student series, but until then, it is goodbye from Queen's College, Cambridge.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's goodbye from Durham University.
Cheers.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.